But back onto the transfers. Have Manchester United used a large chunk of their budget on Mason Mount? And what happens if this takeover is completed before the transfer window ends? And what happens if it's not completed before this transfer ends? We've seen Arsenal be very effective so far. I suspect Newcastle will follow up the Tonali signing with more good signings. Chelsea have a huge pot of money to spend now, having got rid of so many players so quickly. Liverpool are focusing on that midfield. Manchester City and Manchester City. And I just think this reminds me a little bit of the season when Jose Mourinho finished second for Manchester United. And there was this expectation that the following year we'd go after Man City. And what happened is we had a very, very, very bad summer transfer window where Liverpool and others did better. We started the season badly and Jose Mourinho was sacked by Christmas. Now, I'm not saying Erik Ten Hag is going to be sacked by Christmas, but what could easily happen is a good season for United could be swallowed up and forgotten by clubs that are proactive and efficient in this transfer window. United have got holes, striker, goalkeeper, centre-back, midfield, and it doesn't look like they've got the budget to do anything about it. And it doesn't matter how good Erik Ten Hag is. I personally don't think United would get away with a season like last season, this season, because I think we ground it out last year. And I think the fact that Liverpool and Chelsea fell off allowed us to do that as well. United need a kick up the backside. There is not enough going on. And if they think they can go into next season with the likes of Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay, Anthony Martial, Fred, these types of players as part of your first team squad, it won't wash. It won't work. So what are your thoughts on that? We're going to speak to, let's speak to Cookie, actually, a Man United fan. He said Harry Kane's had his chance to join Manchester United. Is that a good thing that he's not coming to Man United then, Cookie, or is it a thing that you don't want him at United?
Hello, boys. Thanks for having me on. That's not exactly what I said. What I was saying before I came on was your last caller, who's a Spurs fan, was saying about Harry Kane. He's been involved. I mean, Harry Kane is coming out and going, I want to win trophies. I want to do this. And your last Spurs caller said he's been involved in a Champions League final, in domestic semis and finals, and he's not turned up. And I absolutely, totally agree with that. He just doesn't do your job and score goals. And what he missed out was he's also had the opportunity to do that for England as well, and he failed to turn up. So, with regard,
do you not think, Cookie, if he signed for us United, it's also about the players around him as well? Because I was saying, well, Erling Haaland did nothing in the final, but the players around him did. Would you take Kane at Manchester United, or is that a concern for you that he's a big game?
I personally would, of course, I'd take him, but then the other side is like how much it's going to cost. Let's say £100 million, and how long have we got him for? And there's no sell-on value there, is there? It's not my money. Of course, I'd take him, but his goals for Spurs have been worthless, really, haven't they? Because they've not, and no doubt he'll do it again this season. But are the players around him good enough to project, with his goals, to project Spurs into a top four and maybe some domestic cup finals? I very much doubt it with the teams around him. So if all he's going to get out of his career is a Premier League goal-scoring record, which Haaland will smash to bits anyway. He's absolutely wasting this. I don't understand why he is not, or we've not even put a bid in for him, have we? Because apparently Daniel Levy has said under no circumstances selling to another Premiership club. I mean, can he dictate that to a player? Or can Harry Kane put a transfer request in?
Well, thanks for calling in, Cookie. I mean, I said this a few weeks ago. I think if Harry Kane wants to sign for Manchester United or Chelsea or whatever, he's got to go public. He's got to put that transfer request in, because everybody knows Man United had this with Berbatov years ago. Daniel Levy will drag it out to August the 31st and you'll end up paying what he wants to pay. And August the 31st, you've played 3 or 4 games, you've missed pre-season. Why should you pay 80, 90 million pounds for a striker that's missed a proportion of the season? Because pre-season is part of that preparation. So I think Harry Kane has to put a transfer request in. But then the flip side is, and we've had a few Spurs callers call in, you put a transfer request in, you destroy your legacy at Spurs, don't you? So it's a difficult one for Harry Kane, who may well think, I'm just going to stay for a year. They can't tell me what to do next summer. and maybe things change at Spurs, maybe they don't, and maybe I move on. But I think that's a great point by Cookie as well. You know, were Harry Kane's goals for Spurs last season ultimately worthless? I mean, Erling Haaland was just a machine, but 28 goals in a Premier League season for Spurs by Harry Kane gets completely overlooked. Spurs had a terrible season, and Harry Kane still scored 28 goals. You score 28 goals for Manchester United, you're going to be near the top. You're going to win something. 28 goals in a Spurs side, and they had a dreadful season. He is a world-class striker. And I think people who are not Spurs fans, and some Spurs fans as well, they observe it and go, what a waste. It's not our journey. You know, I think Ruben Neves going to Saudi Arabia is a waste, not because he's not got the right to go and earn the money in that exciting league, but because it will never be as competitive as the Premier League or the Champions League. And I think you should always be trying to achieve the most from your career. But not everybody else thinks like that. Some people will go to Saudi Arabia. Some people will go to the MLS. Some people will stay at Spurs out of loyalty. But Harry Kane could play for Bayern Munich. He could have played for Man City 2 years ago. He could be playing for Manchester United. He can do that. Whether he does that or not, we'll have to wait and see.